morning. Good morning. Now that's leading from the bottom and the top. There you go. It's my pleasure to be here. The topic is dealing with difficult people. I'm sure there are no difficult people here, right?
No.
I didn't think so, but for those other bastards, we're here. So let's see what we can do to help you deal with all the other people that are difficult, because I'm sure there's always room for it. I call it managing your kindergarten. We all have a kindergarten. And my philosophy is I'm a psychologist for 35 years. I've raised 6 children and 2 husbands. So I know a thing or two about raising difficult people. Might have on occasion been difficult myself. So I call it managing kindergarten because when we're upset, we're all like 5 years old, aren't we? It's not fair, I don't wanna, don't make me, whatever. I stuck out my tongue for those of you elegant people in other places. So one of the things we're going to look at is in 45 minutes make you really quick experts in difficult people. Ready? All right. The key to success is a red shoe attitude. You saw that have beautiful red shoes? Yes, thank you so much. DSW, the best. When we came to this country as refugees when I was 4.5, Castro at that point allowed us to bring $5 per person and 1 suitcase for the family. Any other Cubans here? Okay, good answer. Okay, 2 of us. All right, we're representing in the house. All right. So now I'm an American and I'm very proud. And we're about to leave, and suddenly Castro's thugs, and I don't call them soldiers because soldiers all around the world are those who are real patriots, and these were thugs. They took my mom away at the airport, and the last thing I saw of her was the red shoes and the click. Because my mother had a very forceful walk, and she was doing small because she was looking back, waving to us. I didn't know if I'd ever see her again. We were just about to board. We waited. My older brother, twin sister, yes, there's 2 of us. I know, my poor mother, right? And my older sister, we were just about to board when I heard, and I saw the little red shoes coming around the corner. So for me at the age of 4.5, red shoes were magical. And then when we came to this country, what movie do I see? Dorothy and the Ruby Reds and the Wizard of Oz, and it had the power to transform you and even change things from black and white to color. So we all have that power whether you're wearing red shoes or not. So let me introduce you quickly to the red shoe team. This is Craig Fielding. He's a sensei, he's a Nidan, he's a leadership expert, and he and I are cooking up some ways to torture people with leadership communication. In the back behind the camera is Ken Okel. He is an expert in using video as a business tool and to connect remote teams. He's the best. He can make anyone look good in front of a camera. He can make anyone figure out how to connect better. And then we have Sophia. She's my assistant. She's the one that deals with me the most. She understands difficult people. All right, so my mother had this attitude that you have to own your power. Difficult people are irritants. They can help us make pearls, which is why I wear my pearls. And you see I've had lots of contacts. I have many pearls, and I'm sure all of us do. Difficult people can also make us yucky. It's our choice. And how do we give away our power? We'll look at that. So the smile is the shortest distance between 2 people. Turn around and give a cheesy grin to someone you haven't said hi to yet. The #1 way to have personal power in the face of difficult people is to have humor and a smile. And we know that even a fake smile changes your brain chemistry. Now, it's not good to fake everything, but some things are very good to fake. And a smile can change your energy even if it's fake. All right, so now we won't do that. Is this a tight room? But normally I have you go back to back, and then on the count of 3. So I'm just going to have everyone on the count of 3 shout out, where would you rather be then, right here, right now? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Home. Did anyone say here? Okay, so one of the secrets of dealing with difficult people is to somehow be one with the Tao, which is that philosophy of the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. There's no good and bad, it just is. So being comfortable where you are now. I set you up. Not nice, right? But effective. All right, so disclosure, since you're assigned to the group, I have nothing to disclose other than my love of chocolate. This is how you can contact me. My slides will be available in the following places. If you go to kiwilive.com and you put in here red shoe, it doesn't have to, it's just all one word. And then you click connect now, right here. and then you get connected. You just put in your first name and your email, and then you can get my slides. And I'll have all my information there. I'm an open source kind of person. My email is very easy. It's just Margarita at Red Shoe Institute. All right, so now we know Mamie Eisenhower. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And yet, when was the last time someone made you grumpy? Has it happened yet today? No? Yeah. I got cut off today when I was driving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? And I got inspired with my fingers, right?
Yeah.
Because I do sign language. So instead, I learned many years ago you can jump up and down like this and wave, and they think you're crazy or the Sunday school teacher or your mother-in-law's best friend or something. And you know what? I got a 65 to 75% return of people doing this back to me. And they back off. Energy is the #1 antidote. So we got happiness with a smile, and we've got humor. Those are the antidotes to difficult people.
Sorry about the disruption, folks. But I always do the last dance of the season. This year somebody told me not to. So I'm going to do my kind of dancing with a great partner. Who's not only a terrific dancer, but somebody who's taught me that there are people willing to stand up for other people no matter what it costs them. Somebody who's taught me about the kind of person I want to be. Miss Frances Housen.
Sit down, Jake.
All right, so that is the power of somebody standing up and taking back their own good humor, their own ethics, their own morals. Mostly in the business world, what I see is moral injuries because of difficult people. It hurts our feelings that we don't stand up. We get upset that we wimped out or we didn't do the right thing. But we can always learn it. And here you have a strong cultural ethic of mentorship. So I know that you can have the support. So the theme of no one puts baby in the corner. We're going to examine difficult people, look at some triggers, practice some strategies, and step up in your ruby reds. Yes, this is for men as well. So how do you get enough personal power? What do you do? I want more power. How do I get it? My brother used to beat me up. Did that work? Did he get my power? No. In fact, he used to throw stuff at us. He's 9 years old with my twin sister. He'd throw us, bah, and we'd have a big mark here, and I'd go, missed. He didn't miss, did he? How do we get more power? No, stony silence is not the answer. What's the answer?
Standing up for yourself.
Standing up for yourself. What else? How do you get power? What did you do to get ready? What?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Knowledge is power. Schoolhouse Rock. Right. What else? I love that. What else? How do you get power?
Remaining calm.
Remaining calm. All right. And we don't do it by putting other people down, right?
Right.
Okay. Because we are just way too sexy for that. We don't have to do that. So by being authentic, honest, straightforward, working hard, and letting yourself be vulnerable. Today's leaders invite partnership. You guys are all leaders, no matter what. We know that leadership is about impact, not title. Right? And the question is, what impact do you have on others? Difficult people are your best friend. We should thank God every day for them. They help you become better leaders. You learn, you hone your impact on difficult people, don't you? All right. And we have many blessings all around us, right? Many. All right. So then the foundational truths, 3 that you have to acknowledge if you're going to learn to be powerful. Difficult people are all around us. Yes, look around. Might be you, probably is, right? Sometimes it's us. No, say it ain't so. Maybe they're just misperceiving it. And then they help us make pearls or not, it's up to you. Some people collect wounds and injuries and they're the complaint department. Are they creating pearls? No, they're getting barnacled, right? They're getting all scraped up by the barnacles and blaming someone else. So now, how do we give our power away? What do we do?
Get upset.
You what?
To give your power away?
Yes, how do you give it away?
make us get upset.
You can get upset, that can sometimes give it away. Sometimes if we're upset and we focus it, it can help us. It depends on how we handle it. How else do we give our power away? I wake up, I'm happy, something happens, maybe technology doesn't work. Maybe the highway closes down and I have to get off the highway twice in the morning. I mean, things happen, right? So, how do I give away my power just because life happens?
By letting it upset you.
By letting it upset me. Who's in charge, me or these other idiots? I'm the idiot that's in charge, right? We all take turns. Okay, you had something to say? No? Okay. All right. See, this is why you should never sit in the front. It's just bad. All right. So, clouded awareness. So, as a psychologist for 35 years, I've seen how people come in and lose their power. And what is they cloud their awareness? How do they do that? With their perceptions or misperceptions? With their own fantasy versus their reality? It's not my fault. I didn't contribute to that. Values, behavior, disconnect. My definition of stress is when your values and your behavior don't connect. Then you know you're stressed. Now, we all work for corporations, and I work with the military, all the branches. There's always some disconnect because in the military or in every corporation, you can't believe everything that they want you to do, right? Sometimes it feels wrong, but that's worth a discussion, not a quiet disobedience. It's worth, if something bothered you enough, it's worth telling your chain of command so you can make this a richer place. Because security begins at home. Skill challenges. Sometimes we just don't know how to do it. I work with a lot of powerful people who just don't know how to say nicely, no. Is that nice when you say no like that? No. So you have to find ways to say nicely. Conflict, how to handle it, and fear. Fear is my favorite thing in anything because people are paying attention. When people are afraid or angry, you got it. As long as you're focused and using the energy, it's a blessing. It's free energy. People are paying attention. So who's the culprit? Let's blame it on the amygdala. The amygdala is about here. You know how when people do this thing that someone's crazy, they touch their temple? They're two little kidney-sized things just around here. And they're responsible for all your big emotions. So like in the cavemen, right? So it was about survival. When your amygdala is going, now, do you see any dinosaurs here? No, we have some ancient technology every now and then, but no dinosaurs. So if you're really scared about something, you're just focused now. There's no present. I mean, it's only present. No past, no future. It's now. And that gets us going in terms of our different energies. And it speeds up our heart rate, breathing, dilates pupils, and slows digestion. We can't listen to anybody. When we're this scared or upset, here are the choices. We fight. Now, all of us have a natural tendency either to fight, fly, or freeze. We all have a natural tendency. Now, those of us who are very skilled do a little bit of all, right? We take turns. And I think it's okay to take turns, but you have to know where you normally are. So, emotional intelligence, we can talk 2 days about that. That's about being smart about ourselves, others, and the environment. It's about true mindfulness. It's that leadership quality that helps you really make a difference just by standing there and saying nothing. It's commanding attention by being aware of yourself and others. So let's peek beyond the lizard, because the amygdala is called the lizard brain, right? So there's 3 response styles: aggressive, passive, and everyone's favorite, passive-aggressive. It's that winning combo. Now, there's another one, assertive, which is where most of you are all the time, I'm sure. But we're working on helping other people who aren't as sophisticated, so we'll work on that. And the truth is, we all take turns with some of these. The hardest for people to handle, in my opinion, is passive-aggressive, and it's the hardest to identify because it's the most common. In a sophisticated environment, you get very rarely aggressive displays. Very rarely, depending on the culture as well. I'm Cuban, and Cuban men are real gentlemen, but every now and then, you can just see them go, I know, you know, a big hit on the table. Other cultures, the men wouldn't do that. So different cultures display things differently. That's not the same as personality. Some of it's just cultural. So aggressive, it's hurting someone less powerful. There are different ways to be aggressive. How is aggressive response style to being upset, how does it show itself in the corporate world? Someone's being aggressive, what do?
Yeah.
They yell? Okay, they what?
No, I
Yeah? They hang up the phone and say, sorry, technical difficulty. Ah, okay, you hang it up. Okay, that's passive aggressive, but it's also aggressive. It's a twofer. What else?
Insult.
They insult people. They use bad words. What else do aggressive people do in a meeting? You know that person. What do?
They interrupt.
They interrupt. Oh, my favorite, the interrupters, okay? So they're the know-it-alls, the interrupters, the ones that can't let anyone else speak.
Right.
Now, there's different qualities of lovingness to this aggressiveness, but it's there. Then there's passive, where they retreat. And they're the professional victims. They're often the ones who'll say, yes, but. They'll say, yeah, they're going to do it, but then they don't do it. They say, yeah, that's a really good idea, but, and then they fix it. Passive people can sometimes be the most productive people in listening, but if they're passive in face of a conflict, they're not contributing. And if you're passive, maybe you have a little bit more time to analyze the situation and add something of more value. So look in a room and ask yourself who's being passive, aggressive, and passive-aggressive. And we'll look at that. Here's passive-aggressive. It's indirect hostility. I'm not passive-aggressive, unlike some people I know. So, how do you recognize passive-aggressive? How do you see the corporate world?
Underhanded comments.
Underhanded comments, what else? Okay, this side of the room represent. I mean, really, huh? This side of the room, and she's got you represent over here, but this side? Passive-aggressive.
Passive-aggressive.
Oh, yeah, you're pointing to that, yes.
You were passive-aggressive.
I was being, that's right, she caught it, I was being passive-aggressive. I was basically complimenting her by putting you guys down, and she caught it. Yay! So one of the sneaky things about passive-aggressive is it often looks like something that it's not. Beautiful. That was excellent. All right. Is this passive-aggressive or passive-aggressive? So is that aggressive, passive, or passive-aggressive? Passive-aggressive. Why passive-aggressive?
Because she was driving nicely and
Because she was driving nicely and suddenly did a hard turn. Anyone have another choice? Could it be? It's not passive. It is definitely not passive. Is there an aggressive hint there?
I thought it was aggressive.
Okay, so we can make a hint that it's aggressive or passive-aggressive depending on how we look at it. She can say, oh, I meant nothing, but I'm sure he's going to have a car accident, and let's hope he doesn't hurt himself. If someone says, just kidding, if someone starts to tell a joke and looks forward, looks to the side, and then tell the joke, it's passive-aggressive. HR loves that, right? All right, so any joke that you have to tell or any comment you have to make, watching out. I grew up the only Hispanic in my school. So you can only imagine, you know, they called me all sorts of names and I got beat up quite a bit. But I learned about handling humor. My mother used to say, I'd come home with a bloody nose, she'd say, Margarita, that was Jesus. And I thought, well, Jesus has a really good right hook. And so after a while, you learn compassion. They're scared about this girl who eats empanadas. What's an empanada? Now everyone in Miami and in the world knows an empanada, but back then it was this weird food. I didn't speak the English, right? And my mother never got it right. My mother always changes the shits, goes to the bits. My father, when we were studying, used to tell us, focus, instead of focus. So I often tell corporate groups, okay, it's time to focus. Is that passive-aggressive or passive? All right, so many of the jokes that are funny are slightly teasing, and they can be passive-aggressive, or they can be a celebration of differences, depending on the attitude, right? So now, which one is the hardest for you to handle? Let's just shout out a number for aggressive. Or raise your hand. Nah, I want them to hear it. Shout out if it's aggressive, passive-aggressive, or passive that's the hardest for you to handle. Take a hot moment to think. Ready? Shout it out. 1, 2, 3. All right, so it's passive aggressive mostly? Yeah, they are the hardest because they're the sneakiest, especially since you guys are all smart as all get out. The smarter you are, the more wicked is the passive aggressive because you're elitist. It's an important, I think it should be performance reviews. Really good at being passive aggressive. What do you think? I think, Karen, you guys missed the mark. It's a skill. But you can turn it around for good. You can come from the dark side, I promise. Now, you have your handouts, and I just created subtypes. So aggressive, some of the main ones are like the know-it-all, the bully. Now, the problem in a place like this is the know-it-all sometimes really does know-it-all. It's how they handle it. So a good know-it-all who's a leader invites other people to speak up, no? If someone's a real know-it-all and they're always shutting other people up, and there's that person in the board who says, point of order, but we love them. They're a pain in the neck, but we love them. So sometimes we need the know-it-alls. A bully, bullies are never accepted, and we get rid of them as soon as we can. A bully is workplace violence. A bully kills creativity and innovation. My favorite thing was when a corporation calls me because they've been witty about handling a bully, and they need to pay me lots and lots of money to come in and analyze the situation when I know in 2 seconds that person needs to be fired. Okay, I love bullies. Very profitable. Yes, thank you very much. Opera singer, me. Okay, they only talk about me. So back to me. Let's talk about you. What you think of me? It's all about me, right? So they come in and they're just talking about themselves. They never ask about you. What I tell opera singers when I'm teasing them about how to pretend to not be an opera singer is every third or fourth statement they're allowed to comment. Let it go, right? Now we have the angry person. Those are easy to recognize, right? Now, I think it was Harvard that did research on resting bitchy face. That's some people, when no one's looking, they have that, right? And you can see it when they're driving. Now, maybe they're just constipated because it often looks just the same. But I'm saying it's easy to interpret as angry. And then there's the roller coaster people. One moment they're happy, one moment they're not. Sometimes it's mental illness, sometimes it's caffeine's worn off, sometimes it's, who knows, you know. But one of the things that I ask people to do is have courage to notice the difference when someone needs assistance with drugs or alcohol or mental illness. Especially since I work with so many people who are traumatized, you know, PTSD, soldiers, the Marines, etc. Even corporate people get traumatized. So what do you do about it? And I think compassion is the main answer. Passive aggressive, we have the whining complainer. You met one of those? No. You never? Okay, I didn't think so. Gossip. Any gossip in the workplace is sabotage. It's a soul killer and it's a team killer. And how do you stop gossip? What do you do about it? Psst, I got something to tell you about her. What do you do now? What's your next move? Huh? Don't, you know, okay, so you don't have to say you don't care, but what do you do about it? You can say, huh?
I don't want to hear it.
Okay, so we can say, oh, thanks for sharing, and just walk off. Look, there's the hope. I mean, and we'll talk about how to set limits in a way without grumpiness. And then we have the blamer and the yes buts. The passive, the professional victim, the Greta Garbo. I want to be left alone. Don't talk to me. If they had a hoodie, it would be over their heads. It's not my job. I did my job. That's it. Don't ask me to do more. Empty chair, and then the quitters. Now, at home, I want you to examine your triggers. Why does it bother you so much? Well, we'll get to an exercise. Okay. Now, 3 levels of anger. Many years ago, I got asked to work with police, fire, and EMTs who had been contaminated by all the aggression in the job, and they're about to lose their jobs. I was very young. I was so young back then I had a waist. I mean, really. So I walk in. I'd never served military. I'd never been paramilitary. I had no credentials other than a little new PhD. So I walk in, and I had nothing to offer. So, of course, what did I do? I went back and watched the Marcellus movie that night. So they were stuck with me 4 days in a row. 3 weeks in a row. I had nothing. I mean, I was prepared, but I couldn't connect. So Chuck Norris, into the octagon, had this little morality play with 3 different kinds of teachers. So we had a beginning teacher, a sensei, we had an intermediate, and one more experienced, like Craig, who's the Nidan. So then, with a beginning one, so let's pretend, okay, you guys are group 3, okay? And you're like the Jerry Springer show. I slap you. I'm not slapping him. All right. Slap you guys. What do most people in the Jerry Springer show do when someone slaps you?
Grab a chair.
You grab a chair. Oh, okay, you come on down. Okay, she's got it. All right. She was with you. All right. What else do they do? Throw a chair. What else?
Yell.
Yell. What else?
Curse.
Curse. Steve is not the baby. Okay, all right. So you do something aggressive. Anger. Anger. So you hit me back. Who's in charge? Me or you?
Nobody.
Well, in a civilized world, no one's in charge when there's violence. But in the world of power and domination, I'm in charge. Because you were minding your own business, you were tranquil, and I got you to be off of peace and joy, right? If you're on a motorcycle with me, you're on the back. You know what that makes you. Okay, you have to explain that to the other cultures, okay? You're the queen bee on the back, okay? Now, you guys are healthy, you know, polite people everywhere, right here, okay? I slap you. What do most polite people in the world do when someone slaps them? What'd you do that for? Okay, that's kind of nice though. You might actually be in level 1. What do most people do? I just slapped you. What do you do? Exactly. You say nothing and you look like that. You look whiny. And what else? You're doing it perfect, okay? But later on in the day, how do you feel? You feel angry, you feel resentful, right? It goes sideways. So here, anger is direct. Here, anger, it goes sideways, but it still gets you. Who's in charge? I am. I'm still in charge. Now, you guys are Yoda. Let's hear an Om. Om. Oh, come on, you have to say it out loud because they don't have the force. Okay. Om. All right. Now, if you're Yoda and I slap you, okay? Oh, I'm crinkly. All right. If the first thing you think about it when it comes into mind. Now, there's 2 questions I'm hoping came to mind. One question is, what do you ask me? Why did you do that? And you can ask it nicely. And what question do you ask yourselves?
What's wrong with you?
Whose side am I on? All right, bring it, come on. What question do you ask yourselves?
What issue are you having?
Well, okay, so you're asking about compassion, you're asking me, okay? But what do you ask of yourselves?
What did I do?
What did I do? You sound so Catholic. Okay, I'm Catholic. Okay, I mean, okay, it's Yom Kippur, write the letter, get it over with. Okay, so Arab, okay, fine. So I'm trying to insult all religions equally. Okay, so if you're thinking about how did I contribute, then you're thinking leadership. Now, maybe you didn't do anything. Maybe just the color red makes me mad, like wool. Maybe I'm mad because you guys are wearing stripes and you didn't wear the little red. I don't know. You don't care, apparently. Because everyone else cares. So I mean, really, I don't know. All right, was that passive-aggressive or passive-aggressive? Oh, thank you so much. So much of joy comes from passive-aggressive jokes. Okay. Thank you for being a good sport on that. So the nurses at Chat Trauma and Johns Hopkins came up with a drink of water test. Pretend this is a full glass of water. Right? You see it, right? Okay. Now you're mentally ill. Okay. So, it's full and it doesn't have a little top. I can take it and drink it without spilling, choking, gagging, or throwing. I give it to you. You can do all the same. Then we can talk. When 2 people are angry, or one person is so angry that you spill even 1 drop, you shouldn't be doing anything verbal. It should be nonverbal, right? So the first level, you can't ask me, what's up? What's going on with you? If I or you do not pass the drink water test, correct? Nothing good comes from talking to someone too angry or too impaired with drug or alcohol. It's just not worth it. You need to cool. I'm like a fly in the trap. Okay. So let's practice. What would you do? like that. What's the word? Temper tantrum. In the aisle, wanting candies. He wants the sweets. And the dad is being very passive, not doing a thing. The boy is being very aggressive, correct? And then the issue is at the end, it said use condoms because, you know, you're dealing with a kid and how hard it is. I'm just telling you the joke. So, now, Jerry Springer, you're there, you see this boy and this kid, what do you do to make it worse? Because Jerry Springer is about using anger and adding to it. There's all those troublemakers that they want to make it worse. So, how do you make it worse for this poor boy and the poor father? I mean, you don't know if his mother was just deployed, you don't know if he has autism, we don't know why he's acting this way, right? Maybe he's just a spoiled brat, we have no idea. What do you do to make it worse? Can't you control your kid? Oh, you're so nice though. I mean, I think you have to move over. Okay. Do you not know how to be jerks here at LexisNexis? What's wrong with you? All right.
Shut
that kid out. Okay, thank you for the striped shirt. Okay, go ahead. Okay. All right, someone who doesn't care. Come on. So what do you do? What do you do? You've seen it. Come on. What help them out. These are too nice. Let me really. Okay. What can you do that's nasty to this father or this boy?
Humiliate him.
How?
By either telling the father to control the kid or grab the kid and
A little bit of domestic violence goes a long way in a demonstration. Okay, this is not reality. This is practice. It's okay.
tell the father not to reproduce anymore.
Okay, yes, okay. You hand them the condom. Okay, fine. Okay. So maybe you beat the kid or the father or both, all right? You say curb the dog or something. Okay, now polite people. What do? You see this thing unfolding, what do?
Can I do something to help?
Can I just, oh, you're so nice. Okay. I think you go over here to yoga. That was one of the nicest responses. So who do you ask? Can you talk to the kid verbally?
No.
No, because he doesn't pass the drink of water test, right? Can you talk to the dad verbally?
No.
We don't know, do we? We don't know how to control, because one advantage of being passive is your ears are maybe still listening, right? That's one advantage of the passive freeze response. People, that kind of person sometimes still listens, okay? So, what do? What do most polite people do when they say this? Okay, now you guys were terrible at being mean, maybe you're nice at being polite, okay? So, what do most polite people do when they say this? Ignore it and you say, thank you God.
I've been there, done that.
Now notice, what can you do to make it better? This is about being assertive. This is about owning your power, using all the pearls, using your wisdom and clicking your little red shoes. What do?
Create a distraction.
Oh, brilliant. So what distraction would you create?
Point to something fancy next to the
All right. Okay, look over there. Okay, maybe what else? What other distractions can show compassion or change the energy? What can you do? Because I heard you were creative here at LexisNexis, were you not? What can you do to change the energy from here to there?
Show compassion for the father.
Show compassion for the father. And what can you say to this poor dad?
I understand.
I've been there, done that. Been there. Yes. Kate's going to be a great opera singer, going to be an umpire. Congratulations, right? They grow up eventually. Hand them some scotch, whatever. It might help. Okay, now what do you do to show compassion for this child? Come on, red shirts. What do you do to show compassion for the child? Give them, Is that passive? Passive aggressive? Or yes. Giving the kid candy shuts them up, but at what expense, right? Okay. And many a parent will do that. That's why they have a candy aisle at the checkout. Okay? Because they know we're all wimps when it comes to looking bad in front of our kids. I had a symposium where I was the keynote speaker for parenting at a college. And I had little kids, and one of my kids was 3. She's now 27 with a CPA, and my other one's older now. She runs my company, and she has an MBA. So these 2 little scholars weren't so scholarly in this moment. They pitched a little fit about the candy, and I said, no, sorry, this is after the talk. I'm still in my grown-up clothes, all dressed up. I have to take my kid, and I walk out, and people were there. They saw me at the at the presentation. I said, well, what can you do? Every kid, you cannot allow terrorism. You have to look bad if you want to be a good leader. If you're pleasing everyone and everyone's happy, that's not leadership. Because you have to be able to say no, and you have to be able to say yes. Okay, so now we've examined some difficult people types. We've understood some things about triggers. Why does it get to us? We didn't spend as much time with that because we're doing a brief overview. We looked at some strategies. What is the main strategy from Yoda? What are the two questions you ask? What do you ask the person that's in front of you doing something yucky?
What's going on with you?
Why? What's the matter with you? I didn't know passive aggressive. What's the matter with you? No, where do I start? Okay, so the issue is you show compassion and ask them why. Now, why questions are sometimes offensive depending on the culture. So, what's up? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Right? Why is why? It could be very judgmental, so we have to be careful. It's not in every culture, but many. All right? So what question do you ask yourself when there's a difficult situation?
How did I contribute?
How did I contribute? And if I didn't, how can I contribute now to the solution? Correct? Because leadership's about accountability. And then stepping up in our ruby reds. So the challenge is, the next time you encounter someone difficult, how will you step up with your stilettos and pearls? And gentlemen, with your ox blood or red sneakers and pearls. I don't want to be too sexist. And pearls. No, the pearls of wisdom. Personal action plan. Think, what's one thing you're going to do the next time someone's difficult? Shout it out. One thing you're going to do. No? Stony silence, not good?
Remain calm.
Remain calm. What were the antidotes to being to difficult people? Smile and humor. Okay. And then do your power plan. And then remember, as with Dorothy, you've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn to it for yourself. So good luck. May you encounter many difficult people, as I know they will make you stronger and make this company shine with innovation and creativity. Take care. Thank you.